Now the fight doctor called in yesterday and started with some rhetoric that I just had to hang up. And as a matter of fact, it was the first time I've ever hung up on somebody. I just didn't want to hear it. So I'm going to read his email. He says, "Hey, Billy C, I'd like to think that you're a true boxing fan. This is what I consider myself to be. Please don't confuse me for a Floyd groupie. I'm far from that." Before I go on, that is very refreshing because I would have thought by the tone and the things that he was saying on the phone before he was disconnected gave me every reason to believe that he was in fact a Floyd groupie. But he goes on to say, "Floyd's no saint, and I don't go for all his rhetoric. Outside of the ring and his professional dealings, I consider Mayweather to be an idiot of the first order. Having said that, how about some honest discourse on your part concerning the Aaron Mayweather situation? Don't your listeners deserve as much? If you honestly believe Mayweather has been the holdup, then please explain why. You don't mind debate, correct? Okay, make your case." Well, first of all, I appreciate it being presented like this. And, the fight doctor, Theo, anytime someone presents something to me in an intelligent way, I would love to give my thoughts, and I respect yours. I am glad to hear that you're not a Floyd groupie. That makes me feel a little better. As far as the Arum Mayweather situation, first of all, Bob Arum is a businessman, just like Al Heyman, just like, any other promoter. It makes no sense for him to not want to make this fight, okay? Now, the issue this is my opinion. I believe a couple of things. Number one, I believe that Floyd Mayweather, I don't believe that many people say, oh, Floyd didn't want to make this fight because of Bob Arum. I don't buy that. And there's 100 million reasons why I don't buy that. You can hate a guy as much as anything. But when there's that much money to be made, and if you're considering yourself a good businessman, and by the way, his nickname is Money, I can't believe it. I won't believe it. And I won't believe that Bob Arum did so many negative things that he was trying to block this fight because he was in a position to make money. As a matter of fact, one of the excuses along the lines when this fight was being negotiated long before the fight was signed, Floyd's problem was he didn't want Bob Arum to make any money on this fight, and he tried to offer Manny Pacquiao a flat price, and he tried to tell Manny if he didn't re-sign with Bob Arum, he would do it. So, the reason why I truly believe, Fight Doctor, that it was Mayweather is because of this. Because I know that, let me rephrase that. I feel that Floyd Mayweather, being the guy that he is, being the businessman, being the guy that has built his whole reputation and his whole little shtick around his undefeated record, and by the way, ever since he left Top Rank and he was on his own, he carefully picked the opponents that he faced. Risk versus reward. That's his motto. Risk versus reward. He wants the least amount of risk for the maximum amount of reward. And when I put my business hat on, I honestly cannot blame him for thinking like that. I can't blame anyone for thinking like that in any type of business, whether it's boxing or baseball or football or being a carpenter or a lawyer or a gas jockey, whatever. I can't blame anyone for that. Unfortunately, me and my job and my position, I'm a boxing purist. So yes, on one hand, I respect him for making as much money as he does. I will never be able to have the luxury of making probably what's in his couch as loose change. So I respect him for that. But when you look at it the way I do from a boxing purist point of view and for the good of the sport, I believe that he did not, and I say he, meaning Floyd Mayweather, did not make this fight because at a certain point, and even to this day, Manny Pacquiao provided enough doubt where it wasn't an 85% or better chance of Floyd winning the fight. Floyd had some doubts. It was Manny's style. He's a dart in, dart out. His hand speed, the fact that he's a southpaw, all of those reasons. Now, you started yesterday to say about they wouldn't agree to the Olympic style testing and all of that. That was just listen. That wasn't going to stop the fight. At that time, when they first started talking about that, the bottom line was Mayweather and Manny were on an even playing field in terms of, making consolations. Who was going to get the upper hand in a negotiation? Remember, when the negotiations first started, it was 50-50. There was a big debate on who was the number one guy out of those two. That's changed. It's obvious that Floyd's the number one guy. And I think that the reason why Team Pacquiao conformed to all of his demands were simply because of that fact. And another thing is, he didn't end up with a bigger percentage. He ended up with a bigger percentage, 60-40, but Manny Pacquiao still didn't accept the flat fee. So, listen, the bottom line was Floyd had some nervousness. I think the pressure from the fans, the constant barrage of people, when you're going to fight, push this guy. It's like any bully that finally gets pushed into a fight. It's going to happen. Now, whether it's an exciting fight or not, I don't know. My listeners deserve to know what my feelings are. Like you say, don't your listeners deserve? Of course. And they know my feelings. And I respect their opinions too. And I think the majority of the people agree that the main reason why this fight has taken so long to be made was Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather ducked Manny Pacquiao for all these years. Now, whether or not it was a smart move, look at how much money he's making, you could argue that point. Somebody could argue with me and probably get me to agree that Floyd did a very smart business move by dragging it out this long. He wouldn't have made $100 million or more if this fight took place 4 or 5 years ago. But the truth of the matter was, it had nothing to do with Olympic style drug testing, because that would have happened. Had nothing to do with gloves, had nothing to do with anything. It just had to do with excuse after excuse after excuse. When Manny Pacquiao said, okay, I'll do the drug testing. Oh, no, that's not good. You got to get rid of Bob Arum. Oh, I don't want Bob Arum to make any money. So, if he's getting a cut, I'm not going to do it. What kind of crap is that? The truth of the matter is that when you fight, who cares? If Floyd shouldn't have cared about anything except what he was going to make. If he was going to make his money and Manny Pacquiao was stupid enough to give all his money to Bob Arum, what difference does that make? That should have. Nobody can convince me that that's why it took so long to make the fight. No, that's not why. What happened is that Floyd got sick of hearing everybody ask him about it, and quite honestly, Floyd has run out of options. They've both run out of options. Who else is Floyd going to fight? Because he ducked Manny for so long, or let me rephrase it, because the fight didn't take place for so long, they both ran out of options. There was going to be no way that the boxing public was going to accept any other name. And for May 2nd, it wasn't going to happen. The pay-per-view numbers were dropping from both of these guys. Listen, they waited long enough. Whether Floyd wants to fight him deep down or not, he was forced to fight him. Now it's going to be a matter of game plan. Are we going to see an exciting fight? Is it going to live up to the hype? Probably not. Fight Doctor, thanks for the email. I hope I explained myself, but obviously you and I disagree on that.